You know, I saw some amazing video this week of students in a school in Hong Kong. Now, the school was playing the national anthem, which is now China's national anthem, the dictatorship that now runs Hong Kong, the former British colony. And the teachers stood to attention, anthem blaring. But the students, they sang the song of the angry men, you know, from Les Mis. It's the music of a people who will not be slaves. Again. It is the music of a people who will not be slaves again. You know, China has actually banned that song from one of its most popular streaming services because it is a song of freedom. And Hong Kong people are singing it in the streets as their protest for their freedom. You know, what happens to Hong Kong is perhaps the defining story of geopolitics over the years ahead. And I'm not sure that it's sunk in with many people yet here, how deeply this issue matters to the people of Hong Kong, or how much this could affect us here as well. In fact, you know, it's affecting us right now. And not just because there are people now fighting in our universities, in our streets about this, for China, for Hong Kong. And not just simply because talking about freedom for Hong Kong is so dangerous, even in Melbourne, that a pro-Hong Kong meeting last night needed this police protection. It is also because China, let's be blunt, is a hostile tyranny. And it's already so aggressive that our outgoing spy chief, the head of ASIO, last night warned, without mentioning China by name, yes, that its espionage and its interference was an existential threat to us.
ASIO assesses that the current scale and scope of foreign intelligence activity against Australian interests is unprecedented. Unlike the immediacy of terrorism incidents, the harm from acts of espionage may not present for years or even decades. These sort of activities are typically quiet, they're insidious, and they have a long tail.
And here Hong Kong really is the canary in the mine, or put it another way, and I hope not too dramatically, it's the new Western Front. We have there a huge clash between the dictators of China and the people of Hong Kong, who are still not completely back under Chinese control, not yet. I mean, they still have their own courts, they still have their own free speech, thankfully, which they enjoyed under the British. But for 3 months, hundreds of thousands of Hong Kong residents have protested against attempts by their local rulers, picked by China, of course, to let China now try Hong Kong residents in its mainland Chinese courts. You can imagine what the issue is. I mean, you get dragged off to China's courts, kiss your family goodbye. We're not really talking justice here. Now, those protests in Hong Kong have got violent on both sides, but particularly on the police side. A week ago, for instance, we saw this brutal bashing of protesters on a train. And other activists sort of got picked up in police raids, carefully timed, and it's been chaos at times. Hong Kong's airport has been shut a couple of times. And Hong Kong's chief executive, and like I say, picked by China, this week privately admitted that she would have quit if she could.
For a chief executive to have caused this huge havoc to Hong Kong is unforgivable. It's just unforgivable. If I have a choice, the first thing is to quit. Having made a deep apology is to step down. So I make a plea to you for your forgiveness.
And overnight, that chief executive, Carrie Lam, cracked. Finally said that the extradition deal with China would now be withdrawn. But that could be too little and far too late. You see, the protests have now gone way beyond that. Protesters are demanding democracy as well, the right to vote for their own leaders, freely chosen. No Chinese-approved shortlist. And students too are demanding that freedom, chanting, "Liberate Hong Kong," in their schools. So, will the protests now die down, or will China finally lose patience and, heaven forbid, send in the troops? So much hangs on what happens next.